Welcome back to Stoic Wisdom TV. Today, we're diving into a topic that's often overlooked but crucial for any man who values his peace, direction, and self-respect, understanding the red flags that signal a woman may not be a good partner. Not every woman deserves your time, energy, or commitment. A relationship should elevate your life, not drain it. If you're striving to build something meaningful, whether in your career, health, or purpose, you cannot afford to get sidetracked by the wrong relationship. Some women bring peace, growth, and unwavering support into your life. They help you sharpen your edge and ground you when life gets turbulent. But others, they bring chaos. They sap your energy, cloud your mind, and leave you doubting yourself. The most dangerous part is this: the wrong woman doesn't always reveal herself right away. She may come across as charming, exciting, even nurturing, but over time, her true nature begins to surface. So what do we mean by a low-value woman? This isn't about money, status, or appearance. It's about character, integrity, emotional maturity. A low-value woman is someone who undermines your foundation. She pulls you away from your values. She destabilizes your emotional center and traps you in a cycle of confusion, drama, and resentment. Here's the truth: you cannot live a focused, purposeful life while entangled with someone who thrives on chaos, manipulates your emotions, and lacks personal responsibility. The Stoics remind us that peace is not something to be found outside ourselves, but we also must guard our peace by choosing wisely who we let into our lives. Let's break down 6 major signs that reveal when a woman is not suitable for a long-term relationship. These insights aren't meant to shame or judge you. They are meant to protect your time, your energy, and your mission. Let's get into it. Sign the 1. She thrives on drama. There are people, men and women, aliquo, do not feel alive in stillness. Peace unsettles them. In the absence of conflict, they become restless, as if quiet were a threat to their sense of identity. A woman who thrives on drama does not merely stumble into chaos, she cultivates it. It is her comfort zone, her chosen arena. When a relationship runs smoothly, she'll find a way to disrupt it, not because something is wrong, but because stability makes her feel invincible. To the Stoic, this kind of behavior is not mysterious. It is the result of an undisciplined mind and a soul ruled by impulse rather than reason. Epictetus warned us not to be swept up in the passions of others. Drama is a fire that demands fuel. The moment you participate, you become part of it. And if you're not careful, you'll be burned down just trying to keep her warm. At first, the signs may seem harmless. She misinterprets your words, accusing you of saying things you didn't say, or twisting your intentions until you question your own clarity. One moment she showers you with affection, the next she withdraws without explanation. When you ask what's wrong, she replies, "If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you." This isn't communication. It's manipulation cloaked in mystery. And this is key: she doesn't seek understanding, she seeks control. She withholds warmth not because she's hurt, but to test how far you'll go to win her back. The relationship becomes less about shared growth and more about emotional gamesmanship. You find yourself walking on eggshells, monitoring your words, your tone, your presence, always unsure of where you stand. That uncertainty isn't accidental. It's her design. The Stoic response is not to fix, argue, or negotiate. It is to observe without reacting. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that we are disturbed not by events, but by our judgments about them. The fact that she lashes out or stirs conflict isn't what harms you, it's your choice to internalize it. The moment you stop trying to solve her chaos and instead begin to witness it with detachment, you reclaim your peace. You do not owe your tranquility to anyone, especially not to someone who trades in emotional turbulence. A high-value woman does not see conflict as a tool. She sees it as a barrier to intimacy. She communicates to build understanding, not to provoke insecurity. She brings storms to a close, not to life. When you identify this pattern early, you gain the upper hand not over her, but over yourself. You recognize that your peace is not something to be negotiated. You stop being a participant in her theater and become the author of your own calm. Let her play her games elsewhere. Your job, as a man walking the Stoic path, is not to tame the chaos. It is to choose the serenity that comes from wisdom and restraint. Sign the 2. She's addicted to validation. You may offer her your full heart, steadfast loyalty, tender affection, unwavering support, and yet it never seems to register. Her attention is fractured, always half elsewhere. The phone in her hand becomes an extension of her self-worth. She's not just documenting life, she's manufacturing a version of it she hopes others will admire. Her beauty, her confidence, her independence, these become tools of validation, not expressions of wholeness. The Stoics warned us, do not anchor your peace in things beyond your control. This includes the opinions of others. For the woman who lives by likes and comments, self-worth becomes unstable. One flattering message lifts her mood. One missed response leaves her questioning everything. The world becomes her judge, and her happiness, a verdict passed down from people who do not know her. She may tell you it's harmless. It's just a post. She insists you're overreacting. But wisdom lies in seeing beneath the surface. The issue is not the photo, it's the intent. Is she expressing herself or marketing herself? Is she sharing moments or soliciting attention? These are not the same. One builds intimacy. The other builds a persona. When you raise concern, you are met with deflection. She accuses you of insecurity, of trying to control her. But you're not asking for silence or invisibility, you're asking for presence, respect, authenticity. You want a connection that isn't constantly interrupted by her need to be seen by everyone else. That is not control. That is the natural desire for trust in a relationship built on depth, not performance. A woman grounded in Stoic virtue does not chase attention. She understands that real confidence is quiet. It does not need to be announced. She seeks connection, not applause. And when she receives love, she does not weigh it against the reactions of a digital crowd. She values the sacred over the superficial. You cannot compete with the world, and you should not try. If her sense of value is determined by external attention, no amount of love from one man will ever be enough. You will become a background character in her personal brand. And the more you give, the more she will need, not because she's greedy, but because she's lost. Lost in a world that feeds insecurity and calls it empowerment. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. That is the cost of truth in a world addicted to validation. Choose a woman who would rather be real than admired, will find strength in presence, not performance. Because peace lives where performance ends. Sign the 3. She takes no accountability. There is no growth without ownership, no virtue without reflection. And yet, some people move through life like the wind never touches them, blaming everyone else for the storms they themselves have summoned. A woman who refuses to take accountability is not just immature. She is trapped in a cycle of self-deception. And if you're not careful, she will pull you into that cycle. 2. To the Stoic, blame is the language of the weak. Not because life isn't unjust, it often is, but because power lies not in what happens to us, but in how we respond. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your men, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But a woman who takes no responsibility for her own actions lives in the illusion that the world owes her peace, love, and perfection while she contributes none of it. You'll notice it in her stories. Every failed friendship was due to someone else's envy. Every argument was provoked. Every consequence was unfair. Her exes, all narcissists. Her boss, a tyrant. Her life, a tale of misfortune, never of misjudgment. She narrates her past like a victim, never a participant. This mindset is more than exhausting, it's corrosive. In time, you become the new villain in her story. When she lies, it's because you made her feel unsafe. When she yells, it's because you pushed her too far. When she disrespects you, it's not an act of cruelty, but a justified reaction to your insensitivity vitae. Slowly, the ground beneath you erodes. You begin to second-guess your instincts. You apologize for things you didn't do. You shoulder the weight of 2 people. But Stoicism reminds us of a critical truth. You are not here to carry another's unwillingness to grow. You are not responsible for someone else's refusal to reflect. Epictetus warned, it is not things that trouble us, but our opinions about them. And if her opinion is always that she is never wrong, then she will never confront the patterns that keep her stagnant. A woman of character, a truly high-value woman, is not afraid to say, I was wrong. She doesn't find shame in mistakes, only an invitation to improve. She seeks truth over comfort. She understands that personal responsibility is the soil from which dignity grows. When she hurts someone, she acknowledges it. When she falls short, she rises better, not because she fears blame but because she values becoming. If she cannot do that, no amount of love can fix it. No volume of patience can replace self-awareness. And you, as a man devoted to inner peace and clarity, must not allow her denial to become your burden. Let her gun it with bitterness, but with understanding. She has her path, you have yours, and yours must always be guided by what the Stoics prized above all: wisdom, virtù, and the strength to walk away from what does not grow you. Sign the 4. She uses emotional manipulation. Not all chains are viceable. Some are woven from silence, guilt, and confusion. Emotional manipulation is not the overt kind of control we are warned to boot it. Does not rive shouting. It whispers. It pouts. It pretends not to care. And it punishes not with rage, but with withdrawal. A woman who manipulates emotionally has learned how to gain power not through force, but through subtlety. She will not argue with clarity or passion. Beckow's clarity invites accountability. Instead, she will sulk when displeased. She will say it's fine with cold eyes, knowing full well it is not. She will punish you with silence, not to help but to control. What begins as a small pattern soon becomes a prison. You find yourself second-guessing everything you do. You hesitate before spending time with friends, before speaking your mind, before expressing anything that might trigger her next round of passive punishment. You begin editing yourself to survive her moods. This is not love. This is not peace. As the Stoics taught, peace is found only in alignment with truth, and virtù not in suppressing your soul to avoid someone else's temper. Seneca wrote, "A mind that is not in harmony with itself cannot bring harmony to another." And yet that is the paradox. You are asked to create harmony for a person who sows chaos within herself. She doesn't speak to resolve, only to react. She uses affection like a bargaining chip, granted when you please her, withheld when you don't. She won't say what she needs, because she doesn't want resolution. She wants to see if you will bend, chase, plead. Her silence isn't quiet, it's loud with control. And her coldness isn't detachment, it's strategy. In time, you feel your self-respect slipping. You lose your center. You begin to confuse calmness with compliance, believing that if you just do enough, she will stop punishing you with ambiguity. But the truth is, no one who thrives on manipulation will ever be satisfied by understanding, because it was never about communication, it was always about control. The Stoic path teaches discernment. When someone's behavior or constantly makes you feel unsure, unsteady, or unseen, it is your duty not just to them, but to yourself to recognize the imbalance. Marcus Aurelius counseled the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do. Only what you do, and what you do must come from principle, not fear. A high-value woman does not play games with your emotions. She doesn't test your love with confusion or punish your independence. She engages. She speaks. She listens. Her love is stable, not conditional. You never have to earn it by walking on eggshells. The Stoic response to manipulation is not aggression, it is clarity. It is boundary. It is the quiet but unshakable decision to live in truth, even if it costs you someone who prefers illusion. So speak with courage. Set your limits. And above all, guard your inner peace like a sacred temple. Because once you trade it for someone else's approval, you've already lost yourself. Sign the 5. She lacks long-term vision. At first, her spontaneity seems refreshing. She's full of energy, laughter, and live-in-the-moment charm. She makes impulsive plans, changes jobs on a whim, buys things she can't afford, and treats discipline as if it's a prison. You think she's just free-spirited, but over time, that freedom reveals itself not as strength, but as avoidance. This is not Stoic presence. It is not the peaceful acceptance of what we cannot control. It is the denial of what must be faced. A woman without long-term vision is like a ship without a rudder. She may float, but she drifts aimlessly, at the mercy of every current. Her days are consumed by the moment's pleasures, while the future remains an afterthought. Her bills pile up, but she shops anyway. Her dreams are grand, but her follow-through is absent. She speaks often of goals, yet takes no consistent action toward them. You begin to notice the cracks, the subtle expectation that you will carry the burden she refuses to lift, that you will handle the finances, make the hard decisions, take the hits from life while she escapes into fantasy. Her optimism is hollow. It's not rooted in preparation, but in denial. She wants the rewards of a stable, meaningful life without sowing the seeds of responsibility that make such a life possible. The Stoics taught that a good life is not one of idle pleasure, but one of deliberate effort guided by reason. Epictetus reminds us, no great thing is created suddenly. Building anything meaningful but a relationship, a family, a legacy requires discipline, planning, and the courage to face discomfort. When a woman lacks long-term vision, you're not just dealing with a temporary flaw. You're staring at a philosophy in conflict with your own. She may call you rigid or controlling for wanting structure, but structure is not oppression. It's the framework that keeps chaos from devouring the future. Eventually, life will test every partnership. Illness, setbacks, family responsibilities, financial strain. None of us escape these. When those storms come, a woman without direction does not anchor down. She collapses. She escapes. Or worse, turns her panic into your burden. A high-value woman is not perfect, but she is grounded. She thinks ahead. She understands the weight of real life and meets it with maturity, not magical thinking. She values order not because it's comfortable, but because it's necessary for growth. She plans not to control the future, but to prepare her mind for it. As a Stoic man, your path is one of intention. Align yourself with someone who honors that. Someone whose presence brings more stability, not less. Who doesn't just expect a strong man to carry her but is strong in her own right. Because love without direction becomes dependence. And no man thrives when he is chained to someone who refuses to walk beside him. Sign the 6. She competes with masculinity. There is a subtle but dangerous dynamic when femininity and masculinity clash not as opposites that complement one another, but as opposing forces that war with each other. A woman who competes with masculinity views it not as a counterpart to her own strength, but as something to undermine. She does not see your leadership, decisiveness, or assertiveness as a natural expression of who you are. Rather, she sees them as threats to her control. Every choice you make is scrutinized, every decision you take is challenged, and every boundary you set is twisted into something oppressive. In this kind of dynamic, there is no partnership only competition. Her resistance is not born from misunderstanding or miscommunication. It is an active refusal to allow you to be the man you are, because she sees your masculinity as something to be subdued, not celebrated. You find yourself in a constant struggle for space, where she labels your actions as controlling, domineering, or restrictive, even when they are born from a place of care, protection, or leadership. This kind of tension creates a suffocating atmosphere. You begin to question your natural impulses, second-guess your actions, and doubt your decisions. You hesitate before you speak, afraid of provoking another battle. Over time, you shrink. You diminish yourself to avoid conflict, to avoid her hostility. You water down your sincere, masculine until it becomes a mere shadow of what it could be. You become a lesser version of yourself, not because of who you are, but because of how she perceives you. The Stoics, however, teach us that virtue-like masculinity does not apologize for existing. Seneca writes, "A man who is ashamed of what is good should not seek to be good at all. To be a man is to embody the virtues that make one decisive, protective, and assertive. These qualities are not a crime, they are the essence of what it means to stand tall in the face of the world. To doubt yourself for displaying these characteristics is to dishonor your own integrity. A high-value woman, one who understands her own strength and value, does not fear masculinity. She does not seek to outshine it or to bring it down to her level. She understands that true collaboration between a man and a woman is not a power struggle. It is a dance of complementary strengths. She respects masculinity, knowing that it is balanced by the grace of femininity. Rather than fighting for dominance, she seeks to build with you, recognizing that your masculinity adds to her own sense of self-empowering both of you. When masculinity is met with constant resistance, it loses its vitality. Attraction fades, respect diminishes, and what was once a thriving partnership becomes a battleground, where every moment is spent fighting to assert oneself. rather than building something meaningful together. In this kind of environment, there is no Victorian exhaustion. Eventually, what was once a union of potential becomes a contest of egos, leaving both parties drained. True harmony comes when both partners honor each other's strengths, acknowledging that masculinity and femininity are not opposing forces, but rather forces that balance and elevate one another. A high-value woman does not seek to compete with masculinity. She welcomes it, respects it, and thrives alongside it. This is the foundation of a relationship grounded in mutual respect and understanding, where both partners are empowered to be their true selves, unencumbered by fear or conflict. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, wrote, "You have power over your men, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His words echo the core Stoic principle that the external world is beyond our control, but the internal realm of our thoughts, actions, and responses is wholly ours to govern. In the context of relationships, this is where your power lies. While you cannot dictate or change a woman's behavior, you do possess full authority over your boundaries, your values, and most importantly, your peace of mind. A woman who thrives on drama, who seeks constant validation, refuses to take accountability, manipulates emotions, lacks direction, or competes with your masculinity's behaviors are not just unfortunate habits. They are clear signs of dysfunction. But remember, these are her issues to resolve, not yours. The Stoic man understands that it is not his role to fix or transform another. It is his role to preserve his own peace, his inner fortress, and to protect his energy from distractions that erode his sense of self. Your life and your time are valuable commodities, perhaps the most precious things you can give in this world. The Stoic view is that suffering in any relationship, when it arises from toxic patterns, is not a noble sacrifice. It is an unnecessary burden. There is no virtue in enduring chaos for the sake of love, nor in proving oneself through suffering. Instead, the Stoic man recognizes the importance of walking away when necessary. He doesn't seek validation from external sources, and he doesn't tie his worth to a relationship that demands constant compromise of his inner peace. The key is not to martyr oneself for love or to try endlessly to fix what is broken in another person. Rather, the Stoic approach calls for detachment from the need to control or influence others. Your primary responsibility is to yourself. If a woman's actions continue to undermine your peace, it is within your power and your responsibility to remove yourself from that environment. You need not endure the chaos of a relationship that fails to respect your values or emotional stability. By walking away, you are not abandoning love, you are protecting it. You are preserving your time, your energy, and your capacity to engage with a partner who aligns with your vision, your principles, and your values. A high-value man, grounded in Stoic philosophy, does not tolerate dysfunction, nor does he subject himself to an environment that disrupts his inner tranquility. Instead, he chooses clarity, discipline, and purpose. He walks away from what drains him, allowing space for a relationship built on mutual respect, shared growth, and emotional stability. The Stoic man does not chase after fleeting emotions or chaos, but seeks a connection that is enduring and grounded in solid principles. Reflect on your experiences with relationships. Have you encountered such patterns of behavior? What lessons did you learn from them? The wisdom gained from your trials can serve as guidance for others who may find themselves in similar situations. Share your story, for it might empower another man to protect his peace and avoid unnecessary suffering. If you found this perspective valuable, I invite you to subscribe for more insights on relationships, discipline, and the Stoic way of living where purpose and principle guide every action. Stay strong, stay focused, and always prioritize peace over the tumult of chaos. If this message resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that will help you create the life you truly deserve. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.